Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the show. I am a little bit nervous because today I'm doing a solo episode. I haven't done a solo episode in a long time, and I'm actually really excited. Okay, I'm not so much nervous as I'm excited because today's episode is a Q&A, and you guys sent a whole bunch of questions. Thank you to everyone who submitted questions. I actually haven't looked at them. I had some help compiling them. Some came in over Instagram, some over Substack, messages, emails. So compiled them all into a Word document and had my husband print them out so that I can answer them in real time because I didn't want to get too mental about all of this. So we're going to be answering all these questions from my heart. I can't wait to see what questions you have for me. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you. Thank you all for being here on this journey with me, for listening to this podcast, which has really, truly become one of the most fulfilling aspects of my work. Thank you for supporting the show by sharing it with your friends and your family, by rating it on your podcast apps, by subscribing to the newsletter, and most of all, thank you to the paid subscribers who make all of this ad-free work possible. This is truly a community effort, and it is funded entirely by you guys. And I'm so, so grateful that we get to do this together and that I get to provide this work for you. On that note, I have something that I have been creating, a new offering that's actually been on my heart for a long time, like many months. And I would say it's like 20 years in the making. And this new offering is going to be more of a one-on-one approach. So I love this podcast. The reason I love it is because I get to go deep with my guests and have really meaningful conversations. And I realized while the newsletter is amazing, what I've been missing are those one-on-one interactions with you, with all of you, the readers. I want to get to know you. So my new offering is going to be one-on-one coaching sessions and cooking sessions. And in the coaching sessions, we are going to work together to uncover the blocks and challenges that you might have around cooking and food to help you to shift out of those blocks, to tap into your own intuition, to find the mindsets and the behaviors that you can shift or that I can maybe help you tweak so that you can find more freedom and sovereignty as an eater and as a cook. I'm also going to be using a little bit of human design in these sessions if it sounds fun. Each of these sessions is going to be completely unique, I want to say. It really will depend on the person I'm speaking with. But if it's fun, we'll also dive into your unique digestion type in terms of human design, just as a tool to get us to untangle from all of the ways that we're conditioned around food. And then after that session, if you want to go deeper with me, we will take it into the kitchen and we'll have a one-on-one cooking session. This will be done either over Zoom or even in person if you are within a 15-mile radius of me. And in that session, we will cook together. We will go into some of these challenges and blocks and work through them in a really practical way by preparing a beautiful meal. I will teach you my intentional cooking process, which is designed to bring more presence, ease, and joy into the cooking experience and eating experience. And you will learn practical, applicable cooking tips and techniques, including basic knife skills and other cooking techniques. I will curate the menu that we make to you and to your specific likes and dislikes and your human design digestion. So I am beyond excited to start working with all of you a bit more intimately. If this feels interesting to you, I'm offering the first 3 one-on-one coaching sessions for free to my paid subscribers as a thank you, because this podcast and my newsletter couldn't happen without you. So if you are a paid subscriber and you want the chance to get a free session, all you have to do is click the link in my profile and submit it. I'm just going to choose the first 3. So I would think these will move fast. So if you're interested, definitely sign up soon. After that, they will be on sale. That's a $200 value is that coaching session. So again, if you want that free one, sign up now. And after that, if you are still called to do this work with me, I would be so honored. And I will have more information on that soon. I'm hoping by the time that this podcast launches, I will actually have information online about all of this. But actually, I can't make that promise because my heart is telling me to go ahead and do this now. And the logistics of setting up a new website to offer all of this information seems a little daunting. So we'll see what comes first, but I'm here for you. You can reach out with any questions you have. And yeah, that's the new offering. Beyond excited. Okay, so let's get in today's show. Q&A. I'm a little bit nervous because I don't know what's in store for me, but let's see what you guys are asking. Okay, first question is, who does the dishes after you cook such amazing meals? Well, thank you. My family has a pretty good structure, and we've cultivated this. I think all families, like I talked about with Sarah Copeland in my podcast episode with her, every family has to have a formula. And there's no such thing as a good formula or a bad formula. It's just a formula that works for you and your family. So in my family, I am the main cook. Since I do most of the cooking, my husband has always been the main dishwasher. Now, this being said, James is an incredible cook as well. He's really solid. Like his flavors are really good. In fact, a few times this summer, he was making dinner, and especially this fall with like busy schedules. And I'm always like, why doesn't he do this more? And you guys want to know the reason why he doesn't do that more? It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. I just am the one to plan it. Obviously, this is my job. I'm testing recipes all the time. So as I'm cooking, and this is actually one of my really big tips for finding a little bit more joy in the kitchen, is I keep things tidy as I go. This was ingrained in me when I went to culinary school in my early 20s. Keep things tidy as you go. And so I'm often washing dishes as I go. And if not, just arranging them in the sink. And I'm definitely keeping my workspace clean. But then once James joins me in the kitchen, once, we're getting closer to dinner time, he hops in. Then it's like 2 hands on deck. And he's cleaning. I'm finishing up dinner. He's setting the table. The kids are somewhere, hopefully helping. But often they're like doing homework and stuff. And then after dinner, it's all hands on deck. That is what we're strict about. So everybody helps clean up. And I love this process. And I actually talk about this in my new book. The cleanup process after dinner isn't about perfection to me, but it's about like starting clean, starting from a clean slate. I usually am making my 9-year-old's lunch during dinner. So by the time dinner wraps up, it's like the kitchen is closed, hopefully, although there are definitely snacks to be had some nights. But I wipe down the counters. Okay, sorry, I'm totally going off on a tangent. But I wipe down the counters with a mixture of vinegar and water. James is finishing up like the big pots and pans. The kids did the dishes earlier. They clean off the table. And there's something about this process that I find really cathartic. We start to chill out the music a little more. We always have music playing during dinner. I start to adjust the lighting a little bit more. So we have this bright light over the island. I usually turn that down. And this is our time to be like, okay, let's start fresh for the new day. So that was the longest answer to that first question. We are never going to get through these questions if I answer like that. But that's the answer. Okay. Any lessons you've learned around your latest cookbook in terms of relationship with food? Oh, this is such a great question. My new cookbook, which comes out in January of 2026, I know, long wait time, even though it's done. But this book has been, I don't know if you guys have ever read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. It felt like the way this book came in felt like what she talks about in that book, where it's a concept that's like, so her idea, if I'm remembering this right, it's like there are these creative ideas in the ethers and they come in and you get to play with them or not. I never felt like it was like mine. Like this, the concepts in this book aren't like mine. They're just things that were brought to me. They feel like a gift. And this book really does feel like some sort of co-creation. And the book was writing me as much as I was writing it. So it's a simple concept, but I would say I've been tinkering with it for the past 4 years. This ties, by the way, directly into the coaching sessions I'm doing. This is where I really went deep with my spiritual practice. And I know that kind of sounds weird, like spiritual practice and cooking, but you guys, it's all related. Like spirituality is life, and cooking is certainly life. Eating is certainly life. So writing this book informed my relationship with food. My relationship with food informed the book. It became this cycle and this evolution. And it started as one thing and it slowly morphed and changed with me. I would say at the end of this, 4 or 5 years that I've just been playing around with this book, I feel more grounded and nourished than I've ever felt in my life. And I cannot wait to share more of that with you. Okay, next question. As someone who works from home, how do you balance your work, life, mom, wife balance? I struggle at allowing work to seep into my life at all days and times and looking for boundaries. Oh, yeah. This is a big one, and this is a very real one. This was very real for me during COVID. I mean, I think this was the case for all of us during COVID when our kids were home. But at that time, so you guys, where I'm recording now, if you're watching the video, you can see my office is in the attic of our house. And by the way, if anybody has like shelving design help, I totally have never touched those shelves. I need some help with those shelving design. Okay, putting that out there. This office was built 2 years ago, right when I launched this podcast. Before that, my office was in the living room of my house, and we have an open floor plan. And so I didn't have a door. I didn't have a space. I was working full time. The kids were home. My husband has a music studio above our garage that's enclosed and separate. So it was extremely challenging for me. I had no boundaries. And it got to the point where I felt like I was failing at everything. Like, I look back with such compassion, but I was really hard on myself. Like, I was spread so thin with work, spread so thin with the kids, spread so thin as a wife, spread so thin as a mom. And I think many, many, many of us went through this during that time. I had to develop boundaries, and I had, help from my spiritual teacher and other mentors in my life to give me the courage to do this with my children, because it was not easy, especially with my youngest. And so I would say things like, for the next hour, you can see me here, but I am not available. And I promise I will check in after an hour, and then you can tell me all the things you need to tell me. Because my little one wants to tell me all the things all the time, like all the things all the time. And it was really challenging, but it worked. And I realized that I wasn't going to scar anybody by setting these really firm boundaries. And if somebody tried to interrupt me during that time, I'd say, my hour is not up. I will be with you in, whatever time. And it ended up being the best thing for me and my family. I learned that it is vital that my cup is full if I'm going to feel any sense of ability to mother or to be a wife or to successfully work. I need that space, and I need to make sure that my boundaries are respected. These days, I do have an attic office, which is really helpful because I can shut the door, but it definitely doesn't stop the running up and down the stairs. So it's the same conversations I'm having now. It's just, I can say these things gently to my kids, and I can explain when I'm not available. Like sometimes they come from the office and I love it. My daughter comes up every day after school. Got a chair over here. She sits in the chair. We have our chat. And then it's like, okay, I've got another 15 minutes. I've got another 40 minutes. I've got another 5 minutes. I will come down when I'm done. But I think that it is a challenge, and I don't think these boundaries need to be like black and white and harsh. I think they all need to be kind of fluid, but we also have to be really attuned to where we're at, because that teaches our kids to be attuned to themselves. And I'm talking about that all the time with my kids. Like, this is like such a random example and I'm going off on a tangent, but 2 days ago, woke up and just hadn't been feeling well. And I was like, you guys, I feel so frustrated and so tired this morning, and I don't know why. And just by me saying that, like, everyone was like, oh, yeah, okay. And everyone kind of gave me a little space. And then it was like, it, eventually dissipated. But I found that doing that, like just communicating all the time, is so helpful, because otherwise I would have just been frustrated and tired and nobody would have understood, and I wouldn't have understood, and I would have held on to it. And since they wouldn't have understood, I would have gotten more frustrated and more, so communication and fill your cup. Like, do those little sometimes it's like a 5-minute meditation, a 5-minute shut your eye. Sometimes it's an evening bath, like whatever it takes for you to feel really like you're filling yourself back up so that you can show up for the people around you. I hope that helped. That was another long one. Okay, next question. What are a few of your go-to weeknight meals when cooking solo? Oh, solo meals. I actually I hardly get to make solo meals. There seems to be someone around all the time. But I love solo meals and I love my solo lunches. I do find my lunches to be very sacred. Okay. One of them is I have this passion. My husband is going to laugh when he hears this because he's like, another quesadilla, Nikki. But I love almond flour tortillas, which we eat because my girls and I are gluten-free. And I will stuff them with anything, like sauteed kale, leftover chicken, roasted veggies, like literally anything we have in the fridge. I'll use whatever cheeses we have. Sometimes I even use an almond cheese that I really like. And I cook it in garlic oil. It's got to be garlic oil because the outside then tastes a little bit like garlic bread until it's crisp. And then I top it. I cut it into wedges. You guys, this sounds so funny. I've never shared this on this podcast or anywhere outside of my house. Each wedge gets its own fat slice of avocado. No, I have shared this in my newsletter. Okay, I take that back. Each wedge gets a fat slice of avocado and maybe some radishes. And it's like the contrast of the crispy, hot quesadilla and the cool avocado. And it takes minutes to make. Like, this is when I'm like something quick and easy. I love that meal. For some reason, I get to eat it with my hands. I don't need any silverware. Now, for a solo meal, we are really lucky to have a fish store right down the street. I love making fish for myself if it's just me because it's easy to buy a single portion. It cooks quickly. Sometimes I'll even cook it in a toaster oven if I'm roasting it. So often like a single piece of halibut or salmon, I might do a spice rub on it, or often I'll like brush it with mayo and a little bit of breadcrumbs on top and then just roast it. Or I'll just roast it simply. And in the freezer, I try to always make extra brown rice and quinoa whenever I'm making whole grains, so I can make a bowl. And I love that for a solo meal. So I'll put like the fish over the quinoa, make a quick tahini sauce or a quick yogurt sauce. And then again, any veggies I have on hand, maybe I'll saute up zucchini, roast some carrots or something alongside the fish. So cobble together some sort of bowl that is a favorite. That's like another comfort food. I'm trying to think of other solo meals. I mean, sandwiches. I love a buttery grilled sandwich. So my mom makes her tuna melts. She cooks them like a grilled cheese. It's kind of like diner style. That's one of my favorite solo meals. Anything I get to eat with my hands, I tend to like to eat alone. If it's the height of summer, I'll go for maybe a giant salad, but I don't do many of those in the winter. But yeah, okay, so bowls, fish, quesadillas, those are some of my favorites. Leftovers, I love leftovers. Okay, next question. Do you have a current philosophy of life or theme, a mantra you're working with? Oh, wow. I love this question. Okay, I'm going to answer this question right now. I'm recording this in early October, and something I'm working with in this particular season of my life is unburdening myself from a need for conformity. And that's kind of a big thing to share on this podcast. But here we are, and that's what this episode is all about. I have spent so much of my life following the rules, which is fine and good, but also following what other people are doing it in the way that they're doing it, because that's how we're all taught, right? And I haven't really always had the courage to do things in a way that is totally different and totally me. And even though I'm in my 40s and I feel so authentically me, more authentically me than I've ever felt in my life, I still find myself, wanting to fit in and wanting to fit the mold. I should say my mind still feels that way. But in my heart, it's like the opposite. I want to forge a new path and maybe do something nobody has done before and be somebody nobody has been before, which of course is what we're all here to do. And I think it's just coming home in a deeper way right now. And so these past 2 weeks, last week was like an eclipse week, and it's a lot of letting go of that old need for security, the security that comes in fitting in. So let's just all own our crazy uniqueness. I love it. I love it. That's where I'm at right now. Next question. Is it okay to put leftovers in the fridge when they're still hot, warm, or should you wait for them to cool to room temp? A lot of recipes will have you cool things to room temperature. So say you're making a cake or you're making some sort of baked good. You always want to let that cool completely, because if you store it, it's going to build up condensation, and that's going to influence the texture of the baked good. So any baked goods, let those cool completely. For a soup or something like that, it really doesn't matter. Now, if you're storing it in I don't like putting hot stuff in plastic, just if I can avoid it. So if you're storing it in a glass container, just, you can pop it in the fridge. When I was in culinary school, they did not want us to do that so much because of the fear that it would bring down the temperature of the refrigerator. I don't think that's really a concern for home cooking. So if you have something that is hot, you're running out the door and you want to get in the fridge, just go for it. It's no big deal. But if it is a baked good or something where the condensation could influence the texture later on, then definitely let it cool completely and then refrigerate it. All right, moving on to the next one. Any tips for getting protein breakfast into kids that, quote, aren't hungry before school? Oh, okay. This is a great question. My oldest daughter, as I talked about in my podcast with Sarah, which I will link to, Ella makes her own breakfast. And for her, comfort foods in the morning are usually sweet foods. She loves oatmeal, like real oatmeal. And we've really gotten into that this year. That's been her favorite thing. I'm not so concerned about getting protein into my kids in the morning. For them, I'm going to speak very specifically for my family and my kids. They seem to function well at school, and luckily, both of my children love breakfast. They can't function without breakfast. So it's not a challenge of you really need to eat something versus you're not going to eat something. They're definitely both going to eat something. Ella makes her own breakfast, and I have just relinquished control over what that is. And she makes pretty darn good choices. I mean, sure, she's got days of Nutella toast with strawberries on top, but that's delicious too. And I know they're getting their protein consumption throughout the rest of the day. And as Ella's gotten older, with testing and all of that, we've definitely had conversations, and we've shown her the studies of how protein influences your ability to focus. So that's helpful for her to be oh, I've got a lot of tests today. I'm going to make sure I make a scrambled egg with whatever else I'm making. Otherwise, I just don't worry about it. But that's, again, very specific to my kids. I know they're eating. And with Ella, I just totally trust that she's eating what she wants to eat. James, my husband, and I are both around in the morning. Our schedules have shifted since last year. So now we're both around and we do help out when she needs help for breakfast. But she's gotten really capable in the kitchen. My youngest daughter, Junie, James makes her breakfast every morning. And you kind of just have to find what they like. So she's 9. She loves breakfast sausages. We just buy the frozen ones and he cooks them in a little pan with a little bit of butter. She can't eat gluten. So a lot of the times her breakfasts, again, look like oatmeal, smoothie bowls, banana toast. But she loves those sausages on the side and she loves fruit. Protein powder works for some kids, like a smoothie. My husband loves, I think every day, even in the winter, which boggles my mind, he has this thick whey protein shake. It tastes delicious. It tastes like a milkshake. It brings him a lot of joy, and that's filled with protein. So that's something that can maybe be helpful. But it really comes down to what do your kids enjoy eating in the morning and having that discussion with them. And maybe if they're getting protein throughout the rest of the day and it seems like they're able to focus well at school until lunch, that maybe it's not something that you need to worry about. Or maybe there's a snack, one of those meat sticks or another snack they could bring in if they need a mid-morning snack, or nuts, trail mix, things like that. I hope that helps. It's a good question. It's tricky, isn't it? These formulas we have to make for our families. It's tricky. Okay, what's your favorite cooking shortcut? If you have one. Ooh, gosh, a cooking shortcut. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is to make a big batch of vinaigrette. This is because I just used some with my lunch. We have a lot of salads in my house as an addition to dinner. And often I'll make a 1-bowl salad where I just make the dressing on the bottom of the salad bowl. But in the summer, we're just now getting into the colder season, so I'll probably get back more into that. But in the summer, when we have so many lettuces from our garden and from the farm share and we're eating more salads, I'll make a big batch of vinaigrette in a jar. And it's just waiting. And the kids love it. We love it. And it's just so quick and easy to dress up some vegetables, dress up a salad. Again, similar to that, having sauces in the fridge, just sauces that are ready to go. So I just had a dilly yogurt sauce in the fridge that I was putting on everything for a little while. And it was, again, just that bowl that I was talking about. If I'm cooking for myself, that's such an easy way to dress up a quinoa bowl or to put onto a veggie burger or even a regular burger. Just having quick ready-made sauces. Tahini sauce is another one that I love. I'm not a big meal prep person, but the reason I think for that is I'm cooking all the time for work. And so I don't want to spend my weekends doing more prep. But I do find when I take the time to slice up a bunch of peppers, carrots, cucumbers, and just have them in the fridge, it really is helpful. Packing Juniper's lunch becomes so much faster and easier. My lunches, if I'm starving on the fly, I'll just snack on some. Kids get home from their sports, I can just put them out. They start snacking on that right away. So it's not really a meal shortcut, but it's a good shortcut if I take the 5 minutes to do it. Okay. 3 favorite creature comforts or pleasures right now. Oh, okay. So much pleasure in design, house design right now. So this summer, we renovated our master bath. Our house was built in 1995, and this bathroom hadn't been touched. And the tiles were completely cracked. The subfloor was about to fall. Well, we didn't realize this until we started the renovations, but the subfloor was about to give way. The bathroom was a disaster. And we just had never even decorated it because we knew from the day we moved in, it was really ugly. So we were we're not going to keep with this. But here we are 12 years later, and we finally got around to renovating it. But it inspired me to also pay attention to our bedroom, because our bedroom was the last place in our house that we have paid any attention to. I think that probably happens a lot. And finally, I am having so much fun bringing beauty into my bedroom in like the littlest of ways, like plants. Oh my God, I just bought a new plant for my room and it feels like my new little friend. We have pictures that we've had for a long time, and I have just kept them, like we had them hung, then we painted our room just to have like a fresh coat of paint, and I haven't hung them up yet. So I've been really taking my time to be really intentional about where I want them hung to make the space look just how I want it. I got new sheets for my bed for the first time in an embarrassingly long time. And I can't even tell you how happy it makes me to climb into my bed every night. I just got them from Brooklinen. They're the percale. I don't know if I say that right. I'm a really hot sleeper, so they're crisp and they're light, and it just feels like heaven every time I get into my bed. Those are my creature comforts right now. It's just finding beauty and cultivating beauty in my bedroom for myself. I mean, my husband shares this room too, but really it's for me. He's appreciating everything I'm doing. I'll say that. I love you, James. Okay, favorite new clothing or shoe go-tos. Oh, I'm terrible with this, you guys. So I actually last year or the year before started doing a rental service called Nuuly. I don't know if you're familiar, because I hate shopping. I hate clothes shopping. I love the way I feel in clothes. I love wearing clothes that make me feel good. I love getting dressed. I hate going to malls and stores and all of that stuff. And I don't like buying stuff unless I know I'm going to have it for a really long time. But I think it's fun to experiment with new fashion and colors and so forth. So I started doing a rental service. Like I said, last year or the year before, you get to pick out 6 items each month, and then you return them, or you can purchase them if you want for a discount. And I have found so much pleasure in it. It's so fun. Like I was just wearing a bright pink, like the brightest pink you can imagine, huge sweater that like goes down to my knees. Totally not usually my style and nothing I would invest in or buy. But today it felt super fun to wear it. So that's been fun. I would say natural, like linen, natural fibers, looser fits. These are all feeling good in this season of my life right now. The feel of fabric for the first time in my life, I am really appreciating, whether it's like a linen or a cotton or a really soft wool. Those are things I'm paying attention to. Yeah, so I would love a personal shopper someday. Just somebody to like take me to a store and show me what to buy. Until then, I'm just renting and returning and renting and returning. Okay, 2 more questions. What do you wish you had given yourself permission to do earlier in life? Okay, well, this circles right back to that other question about my mantra right now, and that is to just be authentically me in all of my quirks, in all of my shadow, in all of it, without the fear of how people will perceive me. That's it. The last question. You have your day all to yourself. What do you eat for each meal? Oh my God, you guys, I can't believe this is the last question, because my last question to all of my guests is, it's your last meal on earth. What would it be? This just gave me chills. Oh, this is a fun one. Okay. You have your day all to yourself. What do you eat for each meal? Oh, okay. I'm going to start my day with, often I'd say this time of year, start my day with a hot mug of bone broth. I have like lemon water stuff. I love bone broth in the morning. It's really feels very, very soothing for me. Like I said, my husband does a cold smoothie every morning. There's no right or wrong here. It's just what feels good to you. That feels good to me. And I would make myself a matcha green tea, like a really frothy matcha. And then I like to wait a little bit before I eat because just the way I digest. So a little bit later in the morning, I would have a bowl of my grain-free granola. And I just shared this on Instagram, but I just made a batch yesterday and I accidentally added a teaspoon of nutmeg instead of cinnamon. So I tried to pull out as much of the nutmeg as I could, but it was a lot of nutmeg in there. And then I added the cinnamon as well, but it was so good. It tastes like the holidays. And it got me thinking of adding pumpkin spice. So I would do a nice version of my granola and with probably, I love the Coco June coconut yogurt and blueberries on top. I would do that with another hot cup of tea sometime in the morning. And then for lunch, if this is just I have the day to myself, why not go out to eat with some friends for lunch? I'm feeling that as a nice little get out of the house, have a really delicious, where would we go? Well, our butcher shop, Marbled Meat Shop, has awesome sandwiches on Thursday and Friday. I could go there. I think lunch would be more about being with my people and sharing a fun meal with my friends and less about what is on my plate. And then dinner. Okay. I'm going to answer this for this moment right now because the question, what is your last meal on earth? For me, this question would change every single moment of every single day. But I can tell you what I am craving right now is a piping hot bowl of Thai massaman curry. I actually have a recipe for this on FromScratchFast.com and in my slow cooker book. So massaman curry is a curry that is made with potatoes and it's thickened with peanut butter. And it's just so nourishing and so savory, sweet, all the things. I think for this moment, I would do a piping hot massaman curry with jasmine rice, perfectly cooked jasmine rice. I mean, if we're really going all out, I would do summer rolls before that with a creamy, luscious peanut dipping sauce. Those are in the newsletter if anybody wants to check those out. And then for dessert, we just went apple picking on Sunday. And y'all know that apple pie, well, pie in general is my favorite food. So I would have to finish this Thai feast with an American actually, I think I'd go for my apple crumble pie. The recipe is in my Mastering Gluten-Free Pie Making class. And I love a classic double crust pie, but the crumble pie has this buttery crumble on top and then a scoop of vanilla ice cream. So that is what I would eat for each meal today, if that was my choice. You guys, thank you so much. This has been so fun. I really appreciate all of these questions. These were amazing questions, and it really does feel like I'm just chatting with you all. I have my computer screen hidden, so all I see right now is a little green dot, but I'm envisioning faces, which feels like I'm just chatting with you. On that note, I want to say thank you again, especially to the paid subscribers who make this work possible, who fund this work and who believe in it, who find value in it. I'm so grateful for you. As part of that gratitude, I want to offer you one of those free one-on-one coaching sessions. If that feels of interest, I'm going to give away 3, first come, first serve. Again, this is only for paid subscribers, but please do sign up quick at the link below if you're interested. If those go fast and you don't get one of those spots, definitely reach out. I'd be happy to share all of the details with you. And I'm so excited to get to know some of you more intimately and to serve you in a much deeper way. As always, if this work resonates, you can support it by sharing this podcast with others, linking it on socials, or rating it on your podcast app. The Mind, Body, Spirit Food newsletter goes out every week. You can become a subscriber to that. I share weekly new recipes and tips. And if you become a paid subscriber for just $5 a month, you make all this happen. I love this community so much. I love you all. remember to nourish yourself with intention and love.